Hey everyone. It's been a few days, right? We broke the game. More broke the game than the previous time we broke the game. We actually really broke the game to the point where the game will crash. So I can actually say we broke the game this time. We are going to be talking about Shadow Dagger Falconeer once again, and I'm going to show you how this build just somehow keeps getting better and only just gets stronger. Before we go any further, I just want you to be aware that this build is now a word-based, throwing, melee deck stacking minion build with a dagger and a shield, stacking bow critical strike chance, and potentially stacking minion spell damage. We have created an abomination of a build that just, for some reason, gets to abuse every single stat in the game. And we found a way to make it immortal, and we found a way to make it do infinite damage, and we found a way to add thousands of ward into the build to the point where you could do 1,000 corruption with literally zero problem, and just basically be able to play with a blindfold on, playing only by just randomly moving around and never being able to die. Why don't we quickly talk about everything and just show you how to also make a very balanced build. So the first thing to discuss is the 7th annual change to Dive Bomb once again. I know, we finally got a Dive Bomb tree that actually worked, and we're now changing half of it again because, well, either things are bugged or things got better, or a case of both, where sometimes the bugs fix the things that weren't bugs, and sometimes the things that weren't bugs get bugged because of other... This tree's a mess. If anyone at EHD is watching this, please just recode the whole skill because this thing's a mess. This thing's a massive, massive, massive mess of bugs. So the first thing that we should mention here is Dancing Shadows. This is the 3rd time we're going to mention this node. And well, at first we thought it was working, and then we thought it was bugged and actually did nothing. And for some reason it actually bricked some people's builds. But now it actually is working to where we should pick up Dancing Shadows again because it's actually doing something. So pick up Dancing Shadows again. But this time you're going to path through Midnight Aviary instead of pathing through Flock of Crows, because Flock of Crows, it doesn't do anything. It's not a node that works at all, period, not in any slight way whatsoever. So we're going to path through Midnight Aviary so we get 3% free damage. Now, the biggest problem people have been having a Dive Bomb. Why does my Dive Bomb just not do damage? So at first we thought Dancing Shadows was a part of the bug. Then we thought that the way you picked up the nodes on the tree mattered, and for some reason picking up some nodes in some way made the skill just not do damage. But no, that's all wrong. What we've been able to pinpoint it down to is specifically Rushing Wings. Rushing Wings, for some reason, just has a different flag on every account for some reason. We can't tell why, but depending on the amount of points that you have in Rushing Wings, depending on the flag that your character has, will straight up make the skill do no damage. For some people, having 1 point in Rushing Wings will make the skill do damage, but if you have more than 1 point, the skill just breaks and doesn't work anymore. While for some other people, having less than 4 points just bricks the skill. For some reason, if you have 3, 2, or 1 out of 4 points, the skill just doesn't do damage. Some other rare cases has been somewhere in the middle, where 2 out of 4 or 3 out of 4 points has been making you do damage. What I'm trying to say here is play around with Rushing Wings and just either see 1 out of 4, 2 out of 4, 3 out of 4, 4 out of 4, and see which one makes you do damage, and just get as many points in this as you can. I'm sorry, I can't help you any more than this, but we have really tried to pinpoint this down as much as we can. And I think at this point, we are all very much agreeing that Rushing Wings is the cause of the no damage bug. So now that we've gone all the way, let's talk about the other optimizations we made to Dive Bomb to basically double its CPS. The first thing to mention here is that we were wrong for just putting 4 points in Devastating Dive. While the more damage multiplier Devastating Dive was great, at the same time, the lower cooldown reduction of it kind of made our damage suboptimal. Ideally, what we want to happen in Dive Bomb is we want to get it as close to 3-second cooldown without it being under a 3-second cooldown. The reason for this being is that we have 3 maximum shadows, which is why we're putting 3 points of Wings of Shadows. Because of this, the only way for us to generate shadows is specifically through Smoke Bomb and through Umbral Assault. With this, we are getting 1 shadow every second. So that means as soon as we get our 3rd shadow on second 3, we want to immediately be Dive Bombing to utilize all the shadows. With us putting more points Devastating Dive, Dive Bomb is having about a 5.5-second cooldown, meaning for 2 seconds, the shadows from Smoke Bomb were just completely being wasted and they were just being overridden by new shadows. With us removing points Devastating Dive, and with us confirming that Dancing Shadows now actually does work, which means we want to lean into Shadow Falcon substantially more, meaning we now need to optimize the cooldown of Dive Bomb to be able to perfectly use every single shadow as best as we can. Because of that, in most cases, assuming you have CDR on your belt and CDR on your boots, most people are going to want to drop 3 points in Devastating Dive. In some cases, you might want to drop 4, depending again on how much CDR you have. To play around with it and check the cooldown of your Dive Bomb. It does take a second for it to actually update once you remove the point, but you want to be as close to 3 seconds as possible without going below it. Otherwise, you will clip a activation of one of your shadows, meaning you'll be doing less damage overall. The other thing to mention is, well, now that we're not putting 4 points into Devastating Dive anymore, well, what do? First off, we're also going to remove a point to expose their defenses. Previously, with our high cooldown of Dive Bomb, we actually needed to have 3 points and expose their defenses because we needed to be able to stack our critical vulnerability stacks as fast as possible. Well, with this being down to 3.5 second cooldown, this means that previous crit vulnerability stacks will last until the next Dive Bomb happens, meaning we should always set at 10 stacks permanently with no downtime on it, overall making our DPS even better because we now have perfect uptime on both this and on the physical red shred stacks. With all this put together, thus dropping all these points, we are now going to go and pick up Talon Blades. Talon Blades makes it so every time you hit an enemy with Dive Bomb, you gain a stack of crit chance and crit multi that is then used up by the next Dive Bomb to do more damage. This is around a 10 to 15% DPS increase for Dive Bomb, and it's a really, really good point. We just didn't have a point to actually pick it up until all of these min-maxes have been made. Other than that, if you have more than 20 points in Dive Bomb, the first thing you'd want to do with it is to immediately pick up Featherfall. Featherfall adds an additional attack to your primary Dive Bomb. This doesn't get added to your Shadow Falcons. Then the secondary attack is going to do about 40% of the damage that a main Dive Bomb will actually do. The beautiful thing about this is it will also hit the same target as a primary Dive Bomb, effectively giving you 40% more damage with the main hit, or somewhere around 10% total extra damage against whatever you're fighting. The other thing is this can give you 2 feathers thrown, and you really don't want to put more points in this because it's too inconsistent, which means that it will target 2 random enemies with additional feather when you actually press Dive Bomb, meaning that this actually gives you a little bit of extra clear. Now, with the other points, assuming you have more levels in Dive Bomb, you would ideally want to pick up a bunch of points in Focus Hunter. Because we're not picking Devastating Dive anymore for damage, we now want to pick up points in Focus Hunter to get damage to this. The reason we're not picking up any points in Rush to Hunt is because this node is completely broken right now, and we only get CDR for the first point. Any other point in this would actually just be a waste. But with all this put together, you're now going to be able to Dive Bomb substantially faster. You're now going to be able to do multiple hits with it because of Dancing Shadows. You're going to now be able to keep up your critical vulnerability stacks substantially better, and your physical red shred stacks a lot better. We now gain an additional little bit of extra damage with Featherfall, and overall your Dive Bomb should be doing somewhere around, I would say, about 70% more damage just due to the consistency of the stacks and the fact that we are now min-maxing every single shadow that we actually do, which should be a pretty nice DPS increase. Now, time for the main event, how to make this build do infinite damage, because that's not it. We can only make this better. So once again, we have to go back to our friend Dive Bomb because this kill just loves to keep giving us more things to just abuse. So, Dive Bomb has a very interesting point called Cloud Gatherer. Now, what Cloud Gatherer does is it makes whatever smoke bombs you currently have down last just 40% longer, and this is done retroactively. So for example, if my smoke bomb were to last 10 seconds, this would just give it 4 seconds of extra duration. And the beautiful thing about this is, well, previously, smoke bomb was balanced around the fact that you can't have multiple of these down. You can get very close to a second overlap here with enough CDR, but realistically, you are never going to have more than one of these smoke bombs down anytime, even if you were to pick up all the points in duration tree. Because of this, the points that smoke bomb actually offered were very powerful because you couldn't really stack them. For example, smoke blade is just going to give us 80 flat melee and throwing damage, and because again, our falcon is gaining half of our added throwing damage, that means our falcon is also gaining 40 added throwing damage, which is, well, a lot. And at the same time, we are also getting ourselves Shrouded in Darkness, which again was balanced by the fact that you could only have one smoke bomb going at any time, meaning you can't really overlap this. If we were to look at Shrouded in Darkness, as we can see, my dodge goes from around 900 or 27% all the way up to somewhere around 40% dodge with all these stacks up at the same time. Again, I wasn't able to stack these before because I couldn't get multiple smoke bombs off, so realistically, the 40% was the best you could do, and it kept it up decently consistently enough. Well, as I mentioned, because Cloud Gatherer now gives us additional duration on our smoke bombs, we can now do some very silly things where we can, well, permanently stack smoke bombs. That means every 6.5 seconds, we're just going to be gaining 80 melee and throwing damage, as well as 4 additional Dust Shroud stacks. And the beautiful thing about this is it's very simple to do. You just put down a smoke bomb as normal, and then you just press Dive Bomb inside of it, and now it lasts 40% longer. And because of this, you will never run out of Dive Bomb. As you can see, it's just going, and it's going, and it's going, and it's never going to run out. And would you look at that? My next smoke bomb is ready, so I now have 2 smoke bombs down. And now I'm gaining the smoke blade stacks from both of them, and I'm now gaining the Dust Shroud stacks from both of them at the same time. So I went from having 40% dodge to a permanent 50% dodge. Well, would you look at that? My smoke bomb's up again, so let me have a third one down. Now, my dodge is only going to increase more and more, and my smoke blade stacks are going to go up. We can look at my Umber Blades DPS to see just how much this is doing. Let's press the fourth. As you can see, it's all going to go up more and more and more. My dodge is going to keep going up. Let's press the fifth. Now, my Umber Blades is going to go up more and more and more, and my dodge is only going to keep increasing. Let's press the sixth. My damage is going to keep going up more and more and more, and my dodge is going to keep increasing. And well, as you might guess, we could just do this infinitely. The other beautiful thing about this, as you can see with all of these swirls and all the explosions around me, is, well, every single one of these smoke bombs is specifically proccing its own Umbral Assault. Meaning with me having 5 smoke bombs down at the same time, I'm effectively generating 5 total shadows per second. This means that no matter what, when we press Dive Bomb, we will always have enough shadows for the Shadow Falcons. And at the same time, we can now abuse Umber Remnants on Umber Blades, which makes it so every time the shadows disappear or get used up by Dive Bomb, they are going to leave behind Umber Blade. And well, because we can only have 3 Umber Blades up at any given time, and because we're going to be aerial salting around during this as well, all these Umber Blades are going to immediately time out, and because we have explosive blades, that means that the blades are going to immediately explode, which applies an additional stack of Shadow Dagger through Lethal Darkness. That means that all of these will always be useful, and they will always give us extra DPS. Now, the other thing to mention here as well, this is actually even easier than I've been telling you, because you can just simply numlock these. Just simply turning on numlock, which I'll have a video in the description below if you want to know how to numlock, and simply just numlocking both of them at the same time will allow this combo to just infinitely go with nothing stopping it. The thing about this combo is you can do this in front of every single boss in the game. You can get somewhat close to the bosses without actually triggering them and aggroing them. And if you do that, you can then stand there by the boss, staring at them menacingly, and just stacking your smoke bomb stacks like this over and over and over again, getting thousands and thousands and thousands of added damage for free, which is only going to keep scaling harder and harder and harder. And at the same time, getting yourself effectively 85% dodge chance if you wait long enough. Now, realistically, you don't even need to wait that long. Realistically, just sitting here and doing maybe 5 to 6 smoke bombs, so waiting maybe about 20 seconds or so, is going to give you enough damage to immediately just one-shot the boss. But the longer you wait, the easier whatever boss you will encounter is going to be. Meaning this build, if you waited around 5 to 10 minutes, could Trip do a naked Tier 4 Julia before the explosion she does even goes off. Now, the other thing to mention about this, and obviously it's going to get really crazy, so let's walk away from it really quickly, is going to be the other part of this. As you might notice, I now have thousands of ward, and well, even just standing here like this, I still have thousands of ward. So how exactly is this possible? This is the infinite EHP portion of this. Before we go any further, I did a test on an Orbis, and this is the amount of ward that we were able to put together before the game crashed. Now, I want to point out that this is not a limitation of my computer. This is a limitation of the servers. The server straight up crashed that I was in, and it kicked me out to character selection. But as you can see, by just simply standing there, and by simply just stacking my smoke bomb, my dive bomb, I was able to get up to 20,000 ward, and this just keeps going up and up and up the longer you sit in it. Now, obviously, that's cool and all, but obviously this isn't very good for echoes because, well, you can't really do this in every echo, and it's kind of annoying to have to sit there for a few minutes to ramp this up. Well, the beautiful thing about all this is that this area right here is actually bugged. So normally for this build, you're probably playing with your smoke bomb and your dive bomb on unlock. That means as soon as you come out of your echo and are here and you maybe are picking up your loots, putting it away in your stash and, getting ready for your next echo, you have probably dropped 1 or 2 of these smoke bombs through your numlock. Well, the thing is that these smoke bombs will last here forever, no matter what. And if I were to drop a few of these like this for free and then go into a monolith, as you can see, through a loading screen, I will get to keep the word that I have, and it will keep going inside the next monolith. So as you can see here, I just now have 6,000 word while running around in the monolith. Now, one thing to mention about this is that this is most likely going to get patched, but even if you weren't doing this, even if you didn't specifically go and set up a bunch of smoke bombs inside of your starting area before starting a monolith, just simply passively dropping your smoke bombs down on the ground is going to hold about 1,000 to 2,000 word while doing these maps. So even if this specific bug abuse does get fixed and does get nerfed, you will still be able to have about 2,000 permanent word at all times, effectively doubling your total EHP, making it substantially tankier in these echoes. Now, as you can see, if we go back to this area, all of these are technically gone, but well, as you can see, I am still keeping my word. This word and these smoke bombs transcend all space and time, and they're going to basically always be with you, allowing you to, if you really wanted to, sit here, stack this to 20, 30, 40, 50,000 ward, and then just be able to go and do echoes for quite a while, because these eventually will time out, but you'll get quite a while to play with them, of just tens and tens of thousands of ward. So the other thing you might be asking yourself is, well, how exactly are we getting this ward? Well, that's very simple. That is simply just gained through the ward gain when you create a shadow body armor roll and the ward gain when you create a shadow helmet roll. These are 2 rolls I would recommend for you to immediately put into your build and to just drop something for them. Now, in my case, I dropped dexterity off my chest plate, and honestly, I wish I dropped the dive bomb. This would have been better off if I had flat dexterity and the ward gain when you create a shadow mod. And then my helmet, I have dexterity and ward gain, but I ended up sealing the dexterity, so I get to keep the exalted prefixes on there as well. With this, you'll be able to have a super easy time playing through monoliths and just have absolutely 0 issues going through all the content. Again, the Rin guide will be updated to include all this in it, so if you want a written explanation of all this, you can find it in the FAQ section at the bottom of the Rin guide. That's all I have to say for this video, kitties. I think at this point we have reached peak build where we effectively can create infinite damage if we need it on bosses, while at the same time effectively having whatever health pool we want to have while doing echoes. You might think that this might be the final iteration of the build, but that's where you're wrong, because this build can only go further, and I can't wait to show you guys over the next few days how we can make this build somehow even better than effectively infinite damage and effectively infinite EHP. If you have any questions on anything we discussed here, kitties, feel free to leave a comment below and I'll be more than happy to help you as soon as I can. Or you can come on my Twitch and either see all of this live or see any of the more theory crafting that we do live. And if you have any questions, I'll be more than happy to answer them for you as well live. If you just want to come by and hang out with all the cuties and be a part of a community, I'll be more than happy to see you there as well. And with all that said, I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. I hope you enjoy your new broken build, and I'll see you kitties in the next video.